Hi guys, it's your friendly neighborhood headbanger Terry here, and today we are going to talk about. I forgot to say that I hope you're doing well, and I'm doing well too. Thank you for asking, because I always just assume that you do. Now, back to the regularly scheduled video. I wanted to talk to you guys about doing dietary changes, losing weight when you have an eating disorder. Now, for those of you who are new to the channel or don't know me very well, when I was, the latter part of high school and all through college and several years after that, I dealt with an eating disorder, bulimia. I started out by restricting, and I didn't eat breakfast, and I threw away my lunch when I went to school, and I had a Coke with sugar in it to give me energy to get through band practice, marching band practice. And then I would eat probably about half my dinner when I got home, or I would eat it all. And then I started throwing it up. And so I would eat my dinner and then go throw it up afterwards. And then I started throwing up pretty much all the time. Everything that I ate, more or less, I threw up. I did not binge that often. I did binge, especially when I got in college, because it was easier to binge when I was in college and away from my parents and people. So I did binge some, but I mostly just whatever went into my mouth, I threw up. And so eventually I wound up having to be in the hospital for a month to be treated for that. And I also had what they called a cardiac event and had to go to the ER and be given tons of potassium, because it turns out that when you throw up, you lose potassium, and potassium helps your heartbeat. So, yeah. But anyway, I've done videos explaining that in more detail, and you can go and look at those if you want to. Later in my life, I stopped purging, and I worked really hard on that. But while I was not purging, I was binging, and I was binging even more because I was dealing with some depression and that sort of thing. And so I wound up gaining a lot of weight, a lot of weight. I became a weight that if you told me that I would have been that weight in high school, if you told me I would be that weight later in my life and you told me that in high school, I would have just jumped off a cliff, because I would have been like, no, there's no way I'll ever weigh that much. So recently I started looking. I talked to my doctor, and of course my doctor agreed, yes, you need to lose weight. She also knows my history. And so I began to think, how can I lose weight with a history of an eating disorder? Because when you start to diet, and I'm going to use the D word here, I'm going to say diet, because really that's the word we all think of. And when you think of dieting, when you think of doing something to lose weight, people with eating disorders go, I know how to do that. Okay, maybe I haven't done it in a while, but it's not like you forget. It's like riding a bicycle. So when I realized I needed to lose weight, I came up with lots of horrible ideas of how to do it. Now, if you're watching this and you suffer from anorexia, your diet issues are going to be completely different, because yours are very likely going to be to gain weight. And I feel you, because that was the diet that I was on when I was in the hospital. I was on a you must eat 1,500 calories a day diet, which I thought was like just eating a 7-course meal. I couldn't even believe it. And they would bring my tray to me in the cafeteria, and it had a big flag on it that said 1,500 calories. And I thought, gee whiz, could more people know that I'm having to eat this much? And of course, now I'm thinking 1,500 calories. Yeah, I guess I could get down that low. Actually, I'm eating fewer than that now, but it really does depend on perspective. And if you're anorexic, I don't know how much this video is going to help you, except for later on when I talk about the psychology of eating disorders. But for right now, those of you who are bulimic or have restricted without becoming anorexic, or those of you who are bulimorexic, who both restrict and binge and purge, this is probably more geared toward you. Also, if talking about eating disorders is a trigger for you, if you haven't figured out by now, you probably need to jump ship and that will not offend me in the least. So when I realized that I needed to lose weight, and the doctor was like saying, Terry, you really need to lose weight. And I was like, yeah, I get it. And I do have to say, my vitals are really not that bad. My blood pressure is okay. I'm on a medicine for my cholesterol, and high cholesterol runs in my family, but my weight doesn't help it. And I'm hoping maybe, who knows, maybe I can get off that medication. And my doctor wanted to prescribe metformin for me for weight loss. And I didn't want to do anything that involved taking a medicine for weight loss. I didn't want to do phentermine. I didn't want to do metformin. I didn't want to go that route. I wanted to go a natural route. And I wanted to go a natural route that wasn't unnatural, if you know what I mean. In other words, I did not want to restrict, and I obviously did not want to do things that would tempt me to binge and purge. Highly restrictive diet plans are not good for people with eating disorders for two reasons. One, if you are bulimirexic or anorexic, and you look up a diet plan and you think, oh yeah, this is great, and it's very, very strict and very, very restrictive, it will tempt you to keep restricting even further. And what you will wind up saying is, that's not restricting. I know what restricting is. I can restrict with the best of them. And you will wind up restricting far more than the diet plan probably planned for you to do. And so you'll find yourself eating 400 or 500 calories a day. Now, there is that diet plan with the hormones that has you eat 500 calories a day, and it is ludicrous, and don't do it. No one should be eating 500 calories a day. I don't care what else you're taking alongside. No, don't. Anyway, you can fuss at me about that if you're on that plan in the comments below. It won't change my mind, but feel free. So if you are on a plan that's very restrictive, everybody with an eating disorder is uber competitive. They're mostly competitive against themselves. And so they will be trying to see how low they can get that calorie count. Now, those of us who are bulimic will start out that way, but we will feel too restricted, and we will feel like, well, I already know I can eat anything I want and lose weight by getting rid of it. So we will restrict to a point, and then we'll say, this is ludicrous, give me a cake. And we'll go to Ingles, local grocery store. We'll go there, we'll buy a birthday cake out of the freezer, and we'll eat it. And then we'll throw it up. And we'll think, no harm, no foul. And we'll start doing that more and more and more and more. And we'll say that we're on the plan, we're following the plan, but we're also eating a quart of ice cream and throwing it up. Or if we get really intense, we'll just throw up everything we eat, including the little bit that the strict plan is letting us have. So it will become a trigger. It will become a mechanism for you to start back into your eating disorder if you're not careful. On the other side of that, if it doesn't give you enough rules to go by, if it gives you too much freedom, like, eat whatever you want in this amount of time, but just don't eat outside of that amount of time. Oh my gosh, that's a bulimic's dream. Do you have any idea how much food we can put away? It's like, okay, yeah, go, 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 go. Then you're going to feel guilty about it, and then you're going to have to go throw up. And of course, your people who are dealing with restricting disorders like anorexia are not going to use that window frame anyway to eat whatever they want. So those types of diets, intermittent fasting sounds really good for a lot of people. I tried it, but what I really wound up doing was just eating everything I could between 8 and 4 and then not eating after that. And if you eat as many calories as you ever were or more between 8 and 4. If you're just like, and they don't tell you to do that. They don't tell you to eat everything you can get your hands on. But what my eating disorder brain hears is, I can eat between 8 and 4, so I'll eat all the things. And that was A, not what the plan meant, and B, not following the plan, and C, what good old-fashioned eating disorder people do. We have very strange ideas about eating. And we have our own little rule book, and I've said this in other videos, except it's not a little rule book. It's a huge, this thick rule book of ways that we eat. So we like rules. We like rules about how to eat and when to eat and what to eat. We just have to be careful that we don't think we can do better than those rules and restrict or go over those rules and use purging to bring ourselves back into the parameter of those rules. So I'll tell you what I've been doing. I'm not sponsored. I'm not selling anything. But I did join Weight Watchers. And Weight Watchers works for me because you get a certain number of points at the beginning of the day. And you can use all of those points if you want to. Or if you don't use them all, 4 of them will carry over. Well, 4 of them will be put in a bank. You start out with 28 points at the beginning of the week in your bank. You can add 4 each day. Now, here's where Weight Watchers was smart, because they knew that people would do what I was tempted to do, which is I will barely use any points on any given day, and I'll stick them in my bank, and then at the end of the week, I can have a pizza and a birthday cake and a chocolate sundae, and no. You can't do that. And the reason you can't do that is because they only give you 4 bank points every day. So you might as well go ahead and eat all but 4 of your points, because they're only going to let you bank 4. And that took me a little bit to notice. It took me a little bit to notice that they weren't banking all the points I wasn't using. They were only banking 4. And I was like, dadgummit, they have me figured out. They knew I was going to restrict and then binge at the end of the week with all my points. Yep. These guys are pretty smart. Apparently they've talked to a few eating disordered people. So they've taken care of that deal with only transferring 4 to the bank every day. They've taken care of binging by lowering the points you can have as you lose weight. Just because you lose weight doesn't mean you get to keep the same points every day and like pack on some extra food, which would have been something I would have done. I'm not cheating. I'm within my points and I've lost weight, so now I can shove some more food in. No, they lower your points as you lose weight because you don't need as much food as you lose weight. Now, you're thinking, Terry, how is that not strict? That's crazy strict that you have only so many points in a day. Well, they've also, Weight Watchers has also figured out how to get you to eat relatively clean. They have a bunch of foods that are worth 0 points. You can eat them to your heart's content. They are things like grilled fish, grilled chicken, most vegetables except for starchy ones like potatoes, most fruits. All of these are 0 points, and you can eat all of them that you want. So I find myself going through the day eating two servings probably of grilled chicken, or I might have tuna. Let's see what I find myself eating apples for dessert, or fruit with a little bit of equal on it for dessert. I find myself having veggies for snacks. I will take whole baby carrots and I will put them in a little bowl of water and microwave them so they get soft, because I like them a little soft, and have that for a snack. They are, I guess, in a way, conning me into eating clean by giving me 0 foods. And then there are also foods that are out there, like in grocery stores and at restaurants, that you can track. You can look up on Weight Watchers and they'll tell you the number of points they're going to be. And so if you have a dinner out coming up, you can sort of plan for that with your banked points. Bank your 4 points every day. Excuse me. And at the end of the week, you'll have about 55, 56 points. And you can eat out usually with no problem for that. Let's see, last week I actually had Taco Bell with my bank points. I had a chicken quesarito and a cheese quesadilla. And that was, I think, 39 or 40 points altogether. And I used my bank points and my daily points together for that. And it was cool because it was within the plan. It let me have a little treat. I'm trying hard not to use banked points on things that are sweet. Sweets are my kryptonite. Not even carbs. I mean, I don't even eat like breads and rolls and biscuits. That's not a big trigger for me. Anything sweet is a big trigger for me. Anything candy-like is a big trigger for me. Caramel is a huge, like little craft caramels or caramel candies. I had homemade caramel candies on subscription from Amazon. I got like a little tub about that big every other month. I had to quit the prescription because, or excuse me, subscription, because they came this last month, a few weeks ago, and I just used my bank points to eat the jar. Now, I don't care how many bank points you have, it's not good for you to eat a jar of caramels. And so you have to know your triggers and your limits. And I will tell you right now, anybody with an eating disorder knows their triggers. They know them. Just like an alcoholic knows their favorite drink, an eating disorder person will tell you, I know the trigger that's going to blow me into oblivion. I can eat one donut and stop. It's hard, but I can. But I can't eat one caramel and stop. Caramels are a thing. I don't really know what the deal is, but they are a thing. So Weight Watchers has worked well for me because it has kind of shoved me toward eating cleaner with the 0 point foods. And it has helped me know if I want foods that aren't 0 points. It has helped me learn the ones that are low points, or the things I can get out if I'm out to dinner for low points so that I don't blow my day, but I still am eating enough calories. Because the point system is based, a food is assigned points based on calories, sugar content, fat content. There's a whole algorithm that I don't understand, but that's okay. And that's how they're assigned points. So obviously foods that are worse for you are going to be higher in points. Foods that are low fat, high protein, good fats are going to be lower points. So, I mean, it just makes sense. But anyway, that is where I am with my weight loss journey. I have lost 20 pounds the right way with only one binge, which was the caramels. I'm really very proud of that. No purging, none. A very little restricting in the beginning when I thought that I could bank all the points I didn't use and found out I could only make 4, so I might as well eat, all but 4 points. And even with eating all but the 4 points I want to bank, I'm losing weight. I've lost 20 pounds. My sister says she can see it in my face. I don't know if you can or not. I can see it, a little bit, not a lot. 20 pounds is, I've still got a long, long way to go. 20 pounds is not that much for me right now. I gotta keep going, but I gotta keep doing it the correct way. So if you have an eating disorder and you've stayed with me through this, I know how difficult it is. I know how hard it is to not want to restrict. I know how hard it is to not want to binge, because why shouldn't you have this food? You only live once, da 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 da, especially if you know how to get rid of that food. But all of those things put you on a pathway to a place isn't good. If you are dealing with an eating disorder, or you have dealt with an eating disorder, you have figured out by now that this is not a good place to be. And even if you're still indulging in your eating disorder, you know that deep down in your heart that it's not a good place to be. So anytime that you attempt to alter your eating, first of all, I would say talk to your doctor. Talk to your doctor. My doctor likes Weight Watchers. She also likes MyFitnessPal. I found MyFitnessPal to be a little too restrictive for me, because it was literally everything you ate. It measured everything you did with everything you ate, and it made me kind of freaked out. And I don't want to know how many grams of whatever soluble fat I had. It was too much information and it was freaking me out because it's hard to compete with that many pieces of information. And as I said, people with eating disorders are uber competitive. So it was a little too restrictive for me and a little bit too much information for me. I'm happy to let Weight Watchers do the algorithm for me. So this is working for me now. Like I said, I'm not advertising it. I'm just saying it's working for me. There are things that will work for you if you need to lose weight, but you need to research them and you need to talk to your doctor. If you're here and you're anorexic, you obviously don't need to lose weight. You might think you do, but you don't. And you need to talk to your doctor about a good plan to go in the other direction, and a plan that won't trigger you, and a plan that you can accept and work with. And for all of you out there with eating disorders, I just want to say that I feel your struggle. I feel where you're coming from. I have been there. I have been to the place where my health was endangered. I have been to the place where I felt like there wasn't any hope coming out the other side. And you can come out the other side, and you can start to become healthy again. And I'm working on it. And I'm glad to have you on this journey with me. I appreciate you guys a lot, and I appreciate you listening to this. And so I think I'm probably going to leave it there, and just say, consult your doctor, talk to your doctor, and make sure you have support around you, family and friends who understand what you're trying to do and aren't going to sabotage you. My husband's been great when he cooks, because as you guys know, he's the cook in the family, not me. When he cooks, he asks me, well, how do we need to do this to fit in with what you're trying to do? Or how do we need to do that? And it's just incredible. It's incredible to have that kind of support to make sure that the house has the kind of foods in it that I need to eat. I do the shopping, so that's pretty easy, but he is really good about not bringing things in that are going to trigger me or give me problems. So, just find someone that supports you, and, just let that be kind of your teammate as you're going through this. My sister is also doing this with me, and we talk about things and talk about points and that sort of thing, and that has been very helpful as well. And she knows what I've gone through and the temptations, and so it's good to have her on my team as well. And hello, my sister. And so, yeah, I kind of just wanted to talk to you guys about that. My next video is going to be true crime, but it's not going to be about a person. I would like to do a series about well-known and infamous prisons in the U.S., and I am going to start with the most infamous of them all. It's no longer open, but I'm going to start with Alcatraz. And I thought you guys might find it interesting to hear, where do the bad people go when they get caught? So the first one will be about Alcatraz, and I hope to have that one up in about a week or so. I'm trying to do one a week is what I'm trying to do, because I went way past that there for a while. All right, guys, I love you. I hope you're doing well, and stay safe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.